What's up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel, Clemente Collector. And today I want to talk about Kurt's Card Care. Now, I know this topic has been brought up multiple times on multiple channels, but I have an angle on it I want you guys to hear next.
Batting third, playing right field, number 21, Roberto Clemente.
All right, so what I want to talk about is just this weekend, Kurt from Kurt's Card Care was on Jeremy Lee's podcast. I'm going to have a link down below to the full podcast. Please check it out. Jeremy Lee is an excellent interviewer. He asked some really good questions, and I'll give it to Kurt. He sat there, he answered questions from the audience. So that is much appreciated. My issue is it's a topic that didn't get brought up, I think, enough, and it's something that we're not talking about enough in the hobby, actually. And it's surprising because we've talked about this topic on numerous occasions on numerous shows. But what I want to do is I want to show you guys a clip from the show, and then I want to explain to you why this was the most important thing that got brought up in the show and why it has multiple tentacles to it and what makes me concerned. So to the clip.
Does a card that you soak in your solution, after you're through that process, does the card, like, is there a way for a collector to look at a vintage card, and I'll use vintage because it's just simple cardboard, and say that card went through Kurt's Card Care or was submersed in Kurt's Card Care spray? As a collector, can I be identified? Can I be trained? Are there signs that I could look for?
That's a good question too. No, I don't think that it would look like. I think you would just like. I mean, maybe if you're a card prep person and you looked at it and go, all right, well, it's like a 4. I don't see any corner. I don't see any more room for improvements. Everything that's been improved looks like it's been improvable. I don't know. I don't think so, because it just looks good. Like these cards clean up back to white pretty well. But then I'll work on a 33 Gaudy and it will just lighten up a little bit. But I would say not really.
Okay, so you just heard it from Kurt. He can soak a card. PSA is not going to know it's soaked. SGC is not going to know it's soaked. You're not going to know it's soaked. Nobody knows that the card has been tampered with, right? Well, there's two camps. There's the pro Kurt's Card Care camp, and there's the camp that I'm on. I'm in the camp that I want cards that haven't been sprayed with chemicals or soaked in chemicals or messed with. That's how I want to collect. Right now, think to yourself, if you know a card has been soaked, is that a card you personally want to buy? If you know a card has had spray on it, is that a card you want to buy? Okay. So at least it tells you what camp you're in. Here's what this is all done though. It doesn't matter what the other camp's opinion is. That's the issue with all this. You have the Kurt's Card Care camp, and you have the camp that's not into it. Well, the camp that's not into it doesn't have a vote anymore. That's my biggest issue. Kurt said on Jeremy Lee's podcast, there's thousands of people who buy his product and that are restoring or cleaning cards, right? But they also sell some of those cards. And when they're done with collecting, they sell those cards. Like I think Kurt said a couple times, oh, people keep saying that people are using this to get higher money whenever they sell cards. These are just collectors. Well, okay, let's play devil's advocate and say they're all collectors. They're not you doing it to get more money. Well, one day their collection's going to be sold, okay? And nobody's going to know that those cards were soaked, right? So no matter how you cut it, that card isn't always in one person's hands for the longevity of it being out there. So that is my issue, though. I don't like Kurt's Card Care. I don't want my cards soaked. I buy cards all the time. I don't want to buy cards that have been tampered with. I bet you a lot of the cards back here have been tampered with, and I had no idea. And then something got brought up. Greg from Midlife Sports Cards said, why can't you disclose that they have been restored or tampered with to PSA? And why can't we put it on the label? like a book. Once again, though, Greg, it doesn't matter if they tell PSA that they've been messed with and that they get put on the label, because somebody's just going to break that slab and send it back, and then it's going to get the whatever you want to say, altered label off or cleaning label off. It doesn't matter, Greg. The grading companies can't detect it. The collectors can't detect it. So no matter how you shake it, every single collector that buys cards right now has to agree with Kurt's Card Care. You're buying a card, you don't know you don't know, so you have to agree with it. That's what bothers me about this whole thing. It was never a democratic process where 60% of the hobby said they're for Kurt's Card Care, so it's good to go. No. 10% of the hobby got to decide what we all end up collecting now. And somebody will say, well, what's it matter if they did such a good job of cleaning the card and you can't even tell it's been cleaned? Who cares? Well, you know what? I don't like to put hundreds, if not thousands of dollars into cards that I don't know if there's going to be issues in the future. That's me. I'd rather know what I'm getting and know what they're going to look like in 10, 20 years from now. Is that wrong of me to have my own opinion? I actually want to go to a clip from Kurt. He said something very interesting in the conversation. So why don't we go to that right now?
I get tons of love and tons of respect from my customers. So it's like, if trolls don't like me or want to talk crap, like whatever, you know what I mean? But a customer like me enough to go into the PSA headquarters, get $1 million card grade, and give me a shout out. Yeah, thanks. I'll take it, because that's how good it sometimes feels to have a little control of over your collectibles. That's the epitome of it right there.
So if you heard it, Kurt said he loves the fact that collectors have control over their collectibles. Not me anymore. I didn't want clean cards, but I have them now. I'm happy that people that like Kurt's can have control, but I can't anymore. Do we not see the issue with this, guys? So the next thing you're going to ask is, well, it can't be detected, so just forget about it. There's nothing we can do about it. Here's the thing, though. We give a lot of money to SGC, PSA. We trust them, right? And PSA came out recently and said that any card that they find has any substance on it, that would be considered altered. They don't approve of Kurt's Card Care, basically. They said that, but they can't detect it. Kurt said something very interesting on the show. I'm going to show that clip right now. He talked about Jeremy Lee asked him, has a grading company ever reached out to you to either talk to you about your products or whatever? This is what Kurt said.
Grading companies, have the grading companies reached out to you at all to ask sort of about what your product does or how to use it, or are they interested in using it? Or have any of them tried to hire you by chance?
No, not at all. No, not at all. You know, I like grading companies. You know, smaller grading companies do, but I don't even know people would know the names. You know what I mean? It's like they're always like 3 letters. You know what I mean? So it's like I've had people say, "Hey, I own a grading company," or "We're starting a grading company, and we love your product," or something like that. But like I've had, and you know, I can't really fact check any of this stuff because it's just Instagram. But I have people that will reach out to me that they'll say that I've had people reach out to me and said they work at PSA, and you know, that they see a lot of butchered and like screwed up altered cards, and they'll say, hey, you know, we've always liked what you do, and it's cool that, you know, you can share, you know, that we even have jokes here. They worked in like receiving or something like that. They're like, we have jokes, we'll get a bunch of dirty cards, and like, they should have called Kurt, or you know. And I'm like, if that's legit, that's cool.
So there you have it. PSA, SGC, they're fine taking our money for grading, but they're not going to do any extra work to try to figure out, hey, can we figure out when a card gets soaked for an extended period of time? Can we figure out when a substance outside of water gets sprayed on a card, or a cream gets rubbed on the front of a card? we don't have time to figure out a way to figure that out. No, if we don't see it if we don't see it through a loop, then we don't really care. That's what they're saying. That's my opinion on it. Kurt said he's open and honest. PSA, SGC, Beckett, reach out to Kurt. Ask him what he's using in the spray so you guys could do a swab test of some sort or some type of blacklight test of some sort. Something that you guys can test each card that comes through. And if it has Kurt's Card Care on it, you can deem it as a restored card or whatever label we want to put on an altered card. Until we have a test established, we're going to keep going around in circles right now. Unfortunately, us collectors, there's nothing we can do in this situation without the help of the grading companies. If I could give money to coming up with a test I could do at a card show where I could test the surface of a card and see if it's been soaked, I would give money for that personally. I know it sounds ridiculous to some people that are into it and things like that, but I hate the fact I'm spending hundreds, if not thousands of dollars on cards that have been soaked. I hate it. I wish there was a way I could test it before I bought a card. It's really unfortunate. The biggest reason why PSA and SGC wouldn't invest in something like that is it would go against all the cards they've already graded. So they know that they're in a catch-22 and they can't do anything about it. So they're going to keep putting their head down in the sand, say they don't approve of it, but keep giving higher grades to the cards that have been soaked. So it's very frustrating. The last point I'm going to make is, and it's another point that people aren't bringing up, is when we think about a clean card, we think about somebody like Kurt that did the process. When you get a soaked card, it's not Kurt. It's some random person at their house that bought Kurt's Card Care, that maybe watched a couple of his videos, which I do appreciate the fact Kurt's trying to educate people. But just because you educate people doesn't mean they watch everything, Kurt. And that's my issue. Did they go to college to learn all the different techniques? Soak this card for 5 minutes. No, just do 2 minutes on this card. Oh, actually do another soak on the card. Oh, actually press it overnight and then press it again the next day to get all the liquid out of it. Unfortunately, Kurt, yes, you've done thousands of cards, but the person I bought some of these cards from probably didn't. They probably just did the best they could. Because it's not as cut and dry as some people think it is, where every card gets soaked for so long or every card gets sprayed with so much spray. If you ever watch Kurt's video, they're almost all different. Similar processes, but the amount of spray, the amount of time he puts them in soaking, things like that change. It's more scientific, I guess you could say, than some people think. So we have a whole bunch of amateur cleaners out there that we have to trust did a great job on these cards and won't have issues in the future. I mean, that's secondary to the fact, could some of the issues or some other issues pop up with the solution in general in the future? We also have to trust amateur cleaners that we bought in cards off of. So it's another point that I don't think the hobby's talking about enough. I really think we need to be more vocal. I think we need to get cleaning under control. I know it's already out of control, but if we continue to do what we're doing, we're accepting it. Whether you yourself have made videos that say you're against it, you yourself have said you wouldn't ever buy a card that's been cleaned, it doesn't matter. If you're buying cards right now or you have bought in cards, you accept card cleaning and you accept it in the hobby, and there's nothing you can do about it. And it's a very helpless feeling. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll see you guys on the next one.